shed, welcome to the Red Shed. Hello there, and welcome to today's Red Shed. It's another beautiful day in Newry, but cold. That's why the long sleeve t-shirt is on for today. It was a great day for getting your washing done because the breeze was going 19 to the dozen, but it's died down now and it's slowly warming up a bit. It's been another fascinating week during lockdown. Obviously we had Easter at the start of the week and I've had a lot of PhD work, revisions and editing to do this week. It was hard to get my head into it, I have to be honest with you. But I think I've managed to make some progress. There's some big deadlines coming up shortly, including an annual review, so that's certainly on my mind. So a couple of other things I was going to share with you. We were talking earlier in the week about this book by Edna OBrien. I keep wanting to say Enda, but it's Edna OBrien. Girl. It is quite abject. You know, I was telling you it's a story about a fictional story of a girl who was taken by Boko Haram in Nigeria and the consequences for her. But even though it is quite abject and has a lot of sadness and psychological kind of tension in her own head, we start to come to know Mariam, who's the main character in the book. And I think what O'Brien does in this is that she's very sparing in her language. So we have to go on a bit of a journey. We're invested in it in a different way. I think it's quite masterful and it's worth a read. I'm thinking about I might do a little book review of it on the website, so that's to come. So what's next, apart from poetry? I've been looking back at Paul Theroux. Paul Theroux is a well-known travel writer and novelist, and his language is really beautiful. This is sort of like a series of short pieces that were maybe published in magazines or newspapers, that kind of thing. So each of them are short and it's a bit easier to consume. I'll let you know how I go on with it. If you've read it, leave a comment, let me know what you think about it. And so we come to today's poet. Today's poet is from Northern Ireland, from Belfast originally. He's called Derek Mahon. He's still alive, born in I think 1941. So he'd be, what, about coming up on 80 if I'm right. He's had a sort of a number of lives as a writer. I know he studied French in Dublin and has worked for the BBC as a freelance writer, a drama critic. He's worked for Vogue, and his first collection came out in 1965. So I know a new edition I'm reading here of his selected poems was published in 2000. I'm not sure that there's been any further publications since then. The poem that I want to read is, it's not necessarily about April, it's a bit more about autumn really. It's called Leaves, but I quite like where he heads with it, and I think it's a poem that feels right about now. So here we go. Leaves by Derek Mahon. The prisoners of infinite choice have built their house in a field below the wood and are at peace. It is autumn, and dead leaves on their way to the river scratch like birds at the window or tick on the road. Somewhere there is an afterlife of dead leaves, a stadium filled with an infinite rustling and sighing. Somewhere in the heaven of lost futures, the lives we might have led have found their own fulfillment. So that's a poem from 1975, isn't it lovely? Somewhere in the heaven of lost futures, the lives we might have led. It's nice to think for a second about what those alternative futures might have been, but not maybe give in to them. Not regret the one that we have. So that's today's poem from the Red Shed. Thank you very much for joining me. you know all about social media at this point, so click and join and subscribe and comment and say all you want to say. It's a joy to do this, and I'll join you again on Monday. There will still be videos over the weekend, but they won't be poetry videos. And look after yourself and look after those that you love, and maybe even some people you don't love. Take care.
Red Shed, welcome to the Red Shed.